I would like,
David gonna be here?
to call the public hearing on local law number 6 of 2023 to order. It is 6:30 and we are about to begin. And the answer is we don't know about David. He said he might not make it tonight. He and Jen had to go to the city for some medical appointment for her. And they were going to be back late. The public hearing has been properly noticed in the town's papers, on the website, and via the Anchor email. So I would like to now open the public hearing to public comments from members of the board or members of the audience or members of our Zoom community.
It's on the local law, correct?
Right, local law number 6 of 2023, zoning amendments.
Seen more of it than I can count. And I wholly approve of all of our deliberations. Well, almost.
So any comments from members of the board on local law number 6?
All good.
Okay. Any comments from members of the audience on local law number 6?
Nobody on Zoom.
Well, let's give it a few more minutes.
Yeah, people are looking at it.
I mean, this is dinner time, so
You've got it on for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
We have to do it.
well, it's scheduled to start at 6:30. We don't have an end time. No,
Well, the other one's at 6:45.
it starts at 6:45.
Moments of silent reflection that we do during the year, we can wrap them all up right here, right now.
Anybody else join Zoom?
Nope.
Well, your motion to close the public hearing.
Move that.
Moved. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Public hearing has been closed.
Uh-oh. Now you've done it.
Aye. We can reopen it, I guess. We just had a public hearing on local law number 6 and nobody commented. And then you came in and we were wondering if you had any comments.
I'm against it. No.
Okay,
So noted.
and we got one public comment via email today from,
One very nice public comment from Lucy Aiden and Nigel Taylor
Yeah.
that I passed on. Yeah.
Mhm.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I passed on to the CRC.
Oh, right. Oh. Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah.
Nice to be recognized.
I think mine was.
Yes. Yeah, and the other one's like 30.
What was it?
It was the law, they said they read it through. They were complimenting us on our
Yeah.
diligent. Good work.
I had met with him, well,
What's Willie's wife's name?
It's listed there on one of the invoices. It's listed there on one of the bills.
Yeah,
Hey, Art,
45.
got one too many numbers. There's 4 numbers there. What is?
Good catch.
Just. That one, that makes that one a little bigger.
Yes.
or at least that way.
I think it's 1, 8.
I just,
It's good.
if we add that one in, it's gonna be a little larger.
Good catch.
Yeah. Well, no. We have three.
That was last year.
Just,
Martin, you give signature.
Continuation. Or safe.
Okay, it's 6:45. I would like to call the public hearing. It is 6:45. I would like to call the public hearing on the 2024 budget to order. This public hearing has been properly noticed in the town's publications, on the town's website, and via Ankrum email. So I would like to open the public hearing and ask if anybody on the board has any comments about the 2024 budget.
I have some comments, questions on the major variance summary.
Yeah.
Under cost reductions.
Yep.
Highway equipment reserve, $50,000, where is that?
We normally, for the last few years, we've allocated $100,000 in the general fund equipment code to be a placeholder for highway equipment purchases. We use that money to fund the fund balance. We've reduced that by $50,000 in this budget, right?
And you're also cutting the contingent,
Yes, cut that out, that $30,000.
sit down to what?
$30,000 was in the contingent for 2023, but it's not in for 2024.
And then building equipment. $30,000.
That's the heat pumps. It was in the 2023 budget, $38,000, I think, something like that. And
The grant we just got, how is that gonna impact?
doesn't impact that. That's a revenue item that we had budgeted separately.
That's already in there.
I thought we had intended for $70,000 per grant.
We apparently got 20,000 of it last year.
We did, yeah. And then there's
Can we
other for each.
see
Yeah,
that?
that's just all the little things I didn't bother to enumerate.
Okay,
How did we get 20,000 that we weren't told about?
I'm sorry.
How did we get $20,000 last year that we weren't told about then? You said we got $20,000 last year.
Yeah,
it was probably in the,
it's in the
It
number.
probably was, yeah, okay, but I don't remember hearing about it.
Because they got installed a year and a half ago, didn't they?
Something like that.
Themselves,
Yeah, we've been waiting a long time for this
We see,
thing to
they had to get
and
come
that,
together.
the electrical thing before.
Right.
and the
see.
revenue in, reduction is 71,000. Grand,
That was the budget that we had that amount budgeted this year.
right, for that,
Yeah, but we only got 53.
right, okay.
Yeah.
so,
I understand.
but if we only got 53 this year, and you say we got 20,000 last year, do we have records of that? Can we prove that that?
I can go back and look, sure.
Okay, I'd like to see those at the next meeting.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Other board members' questions? Okay. Anybody in the audience have any questions about the budget?
Everything is well laid out.
No comments? No questions? Anybody on Zoom?
Nope.
Nobody on Zoom, or nobody on Zoom has questions?
Nobody else has a question.
Okay, let's give it a few more minutes. Wait until 10 minutes of 7 before we consider this for adjournment.
One thing quick. You talked about capital spending.
Mhm.
And nine. I don't see anything, are we ever gonna do anything? We've talked about this a bunch of times. With the town hall, we've got a roof that's a problem.
Yeah,
We've got different things, you know, we talk about painting, we talk about the carpet, we've talked about this for years and years. Are we ever gonna do anything, or when's that gonna?
that'll be up to the next town board to decide.
Okay,
You got that all in the capital plan, right?
Well, there's nothing.
There's nothing in
We
the
have
capital
fund
plan.
balance and we can allocate it. We haven't allocated
Right.
anything yet, no.
I agree with you. You need to take care of some of that.
is the roof still leaking? In
No,
the back?
not that I know of.
No, the only thing that we had a problem with this year. We have a bird situation. Coming in a hole over here and they're somehow flying over there within the building. And they've made a nest over top of the panels. We have a baby bird situation. But they're not inside, they're outside flying through the. They're inside, but they're outside flying in, making the nest in the building. And then flying back out.
They're inside.
They're inside.
But we do have a building manager now, don't we?
Yes,
And it must be his fault, because we haven't had one for a couple of years, so we
No,
should
but-
blame him.
No, but there should be somebody that maybe can handle it, you know, now that we have one.
can we have, somebody take a look at it?
I had Bob Reed come because when I went in the back one day to do something, a bunch of feathers fell off. So I called him to come look because I couldn't find it. He found it right away. Because apparently when they come out of the hole, they defecated down the side of the building.
These pest control guys are pretty good at sealing up.
It's only a hole about this big.
That's all I need. I had that one from my house.
Surprised there's no mice in
there.
Get the building managers, hit it with some spray foam.
We're not there now. It's a spring problem.
Okay, good point.
Gotta get Brian on that.
So any other questions or comments about the budget? Okay, if not, then I would appreciate a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing is closed. Thank you very much. We'll start the town board meeting in about 10 minutes.
That much for others.
Those are time and-
Yeah, here's.
Like,
And who's taking care of the box? Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
21:45.
Mine's only like, I don't know, $300.
I just thought about Jason. Things that the two of us were in
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems like a lot.
How long do you think your section is?
Yeah. I do too. Well, it's basically to a.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Talk fast.
Yeah.
Take me
I mean, it's not like,
Everybody else got to keep up.
Yeah.
I would like to call the November Town Board meeting to order. Please join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, thank you all for being here tonight. Just want to remind everybody about the rules of the road. If you have a question or a comment, please raise your hand. You will be recognized. Stand up and state your question or comment, and we will then move on. No interruptions, please. Let people finish before you respond, if you can contain your enthusiasm to do that. Recusal check. Anything on the agenda tonight that the board members have to recuse from? No. Okay. Minutes from October town board meeting from Monica. Any questions or comments on those? If not, could I get a motion to approve them? Moved. Is there a second? Second, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you very much. First item on the agenda is the revaluation litigation related to Long Lake. I've had a request from a board member to go into executive session to discuss this matter before we consider the settlement proposal. And rather than disrupt the meeting, I propose that we defer the revaluation discussion until after the regular meeting has concluded. Then we will go into executive session to discuss the revaluation issues, come back out of executive session and consider the settlement agreement. So, Jonathan, are you out there?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
I don't know if you heard that, but we have a board member who wants to discuss.
I did hear it. Yes.
Okay, so we'll probably give you a call sometime between 7:30 and 8. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Renee?
Okay, I'm gonna leave the Zoom meeting then.
Yes, okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
Good night.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. All right, next item is local law number 6 of 2023. Mr. Clark.
At last month's meeting, we introduced that local law to the board and to the community. We established by resolution that the board was the lead agent, that it was a type 1 action for secret purposes and a number of other activities. Pursuant to the groundwork that we laid last week, I would ask the board to initiate the secret review process by turning to the full environmental assessment form, part 1, project and setting, that I gave you last week, but I provided another copy at the top of your current package. And I would ask that you proceed with me through this. This form, as usual, reflects our views, but it also has been held to be filled out by Nan Stolzenberg, who recommends the responses that you see in draft in the form. Most of the forms, I caution the board and I caution the public, does not apply to the adoption of a local law such as we have. And therefore, a great part of these 13 pages are blank. With that, what we're looking at is the project and setting for the proposal of law number 6. And the location, of course, is the entire township of Ankrum in Columbia County. A description of this proposed action you see before you and matches that which you have seen in BEEF section F last week, which I handed out. The applicant is the town board itself, various information cited here, and Art's contact point, as he will be the one who signs this ultimately. Turning to the second page, governmental approvals. You see the entity marked there and the reasons. It is a town board, adopt, the planning board has their look at it. County agencies, it was referred pursuant to our last meeting to the Columbia County Planning Board. And in point of fact, the Columbia County Planning Board reviewed or is reviewing it today. There are no coastal resources involved, hence no. The only approvals are necessary are indicated there. It complies with adopted land use plans. You can read for yourself down through A, B, C. The agricultural and farmland protection plan applies as well. And is the site located in a municipality with an adopted zoning law or ordinance? Yeah, obviously it is. It hails all districts within the town. And it is certainly permitted. And the zoning change is requested as part of the proposed update. The citation dealing with school districts that are town, police, fire information, the parks and so on. And that is the end of, on that page, where matters pertain to the town itself for this sort of action. The various details then, page 2, the remainder, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are an exercise in perhaps wasted resources. Because at the end then, if we adopt part 1 as just reviewed, the only thing left to do is for Art to sign it as the signatory for the town board. And we would change the date. This was introduced on October 19th. It obviously would reflect today's date. I would ask that if you have questions, close them. If you don't have questions, I would suggest that we authorize Art to sign this on our behalf and move on. No.
Question?
Just
Stand up, please.
I am Ben Boyce. I don't have to say my name, but, just a quick question. Can you just an overview, just a really thing, because you went, I know you know all the details. And I know, but can you tell me what that's all about? Like what we, just an overview of what you're doing.
Basically, having introduced a local law that deals with refinements to the entire zoning law, we have to initiate the environmental review process.
So it's kind of stating that's what we have. to do.
And what this first part of the environmental review process is describing the project, the revision of the local law, and the setting in which that project will occur, the town in its entirety. This form is basically devoted to much more particular projects. But it is part of the steps that we have to go through in terms of environmental review. And most of those steps do not simply apply to this type of an action.
Well, I appreciate that. Just, a lot of paperwork and a lot of, I just didn't quite catch it all. Thanks.
Good question, Jen. Thank you.
Okay, I perceive that the board is fine with this. Let us proceed then to part 2.
So have we gotten approval for me to sign this?
Why don't you ask the board? I make a motion that we approve part 1 and authorize our supervisor to sign.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Do I need to wait for a new date or can I just scratch out this date and put a new
You
date
can
in?
scratch that date out. Add yourself first.
Okay,
As Art does that, we will move along to full environmental assessment form part 2. Having looked at the project and the settings, Part two is the identification of potential project impact. Potential project impacts on the town. And once again, this is done by the town as lead agent. And once again, most of these will be negative answers. They tend to be yes and no answers, and most of these, since again, the law is not of the sort of project that one normally might find in a physical setting, most of these will not apply.
So a no means that this has no negative environmental impact
That's
on the town?
correct.
Okay.
And so the first examination is the impact on land. Whether this proposed action will involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. In this case, no, it won't. The law itself will not have such an impact. So that's negative. Will it have an impact on geological features, resulting in the modification or destruction of or inhibiting access to unique or unusual landforms, cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, caves, etc.? And again, no is the most reasonable answer. Impacts on surface water. Proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. Again, this will not precipitate negative effects on those, quite the opposite. And so no, again, is the correct answer. Impact on groundwater. May result in new or additional use of groundwater or introduce contaminants to groundwater. Again, this will not be the case. In all likelihood, it will be the exact opposite. So no is the correct answer. Impact on flooding. Proposed action may result in development on land subject to flooding in a designated floodway, in a 100-year floodplain, et cetera, et cetera. Sub-questions. Again, the response most rationally is no. Impacts on air. May include a state regulated air emission source. No, that's not going to be the case. Impact on plants and animals may result in the loss of flora or fauna. Again, quite the opposite is the anticipated result. So no is the rational response there. Impact on agricultural resources. Proposed action may impact agricultural resources of various sorts in negative ways. Again, quite the opposite. No. Impact on aesthetic resources. Land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. Again, no negative effect is the intended result. Impact on historic and archaeological resources. They act upon or occur in adjacent to those. No. Impact on open space and recreation. May result in the loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction of open space resources. Again, that will not be the case as a result of this proposed law. Impact on critical environmental areas in a negative way. Again, quite the opposite. Proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. Don't think so. Impact on energy may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. Not likely. Impact on noise, odor, and light. There will increase those phenomena. No. Impact on human health, whether it will have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. No, certainly not. Consistency with community plans. If this is stated in a negative way. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. No, it is quite the opposite. It is consistent. And finally, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with existing community character. No, it's the flip of that. Those are and constitute a thorough examination of potential project impacts of all sorts. I would make a motion that we adopt the no responses and thereby accept this part two as rendered.
So moved. That was a second.
Bonnie seconds.
Second.
Yep, okay. Any other questions or comments? Not all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
motion is passed.
We will continue with the review process at our next meeting after we have heard from, for example, the county response. Who is reviewing.
Right, the county's meeting tonight, and I saw that we got some preliminary comments from the planning board with Jay. He sent an email in late this afternoon. So we should be in pretty good shape in December with
I would think.
a conclusion. Okay. Any other questions or comments about this process before we move on?
If you have it all done by December and you pass it by December, it'll be ready to go to the state right after the board meeting, correct?
Should
I'm
be.
just wondering because we've done this before. And they're on holiday vacation.
So local
And then
law
we come
of
back and say
twenty
it's gotta
twenty-three,
be Local law 1 of 2024 instead of 6 of 2023, and it holds it up.
we should be ready to go right after.
We should be on a
Yeah.
good target to get it to the state in time for them to act on.
Good, okay, thank you. Committee reports, are there any committee reports that we need to hear tonight? Strategic investment, fact,
Before I go on, again, board members, we're going to need these same papers, the rest of the packet.
Same.
You can hang on to them and bring them back, or you can put them aside and I'll collect them and
Yep.
re-hand them out again.
okay. Committee reports, I don't sense there are any, so we can move right along to my supervisor.
Housing committee report if you'd like.
Okay, good.
We've been very busy. We have been attending quite a few meetings. There was a meeting at the Taconic Firehouse that was informational, that was with Chris Brown and the Columbia Housing, the Columbia Land Conservancy and Habitat. It was quite well attended. We have met with the Tri-Town group again, which is, there's a lot happening at the county, as you might know. The county committee is working on all sorts of things. I sent around to Hugh and to Nan the copy of the law that was passed in Copac that had to do with housing. And I would like to take a look at that law and see, sort of go over it and see if there are things in there that I think there are that we can adopt here to make things easier for housing to happen. We are working on that pro-housing communities designation, which we submitted a letter of intent and a resolution last month. And we're waiting to hear back from them about what the next step is, and that program will hopefully help us get grants if and when we move ahead with anything building. We also had a meeting with be set up. There's a program in Woodstock that's called home sharing, and it was a terrific meeting there. They have a program there. It's a couple of years old where they take people who are willing to share their homes and they match them up with people who need homes, and it's often people who are willing to do a little bit of work around the house or chore sharing, stuff like that. And they've had good success. So we were thinking maybe we would reach out to the community and see if there was anybody interested in doing that here. It would be a longer process to set up, but it's a wonderful program. And the last thing I want to say is that we are planning a public forum, probably in January, at the Rogen Library. And they had a forum in Millerton a while back where they had Habitat, among other groups, with storyboards showing what affordable housing can look like. the rentals, condos, homes, tiny homes. Just so people can get a sense of what it might look like if we ever get there. And also included in that are, Amy Allen, I don't think she's here tonight, but she's, deals with financial programs and on mortgages, and that could be part of that group that could help people learn about programs that exist that maybe they don't know about, first-time home buyers, that sort of thing. The Climate Smart Task Force is going to be involved. They're going to do some program on making your homes more eco-friendly, more affordably, yeah, how to heat your homes in a more affordable and economic, that sort of thing. So that's kind of in progress, and it's kind of building into a really nice program I think we'll have. So we're hoping for that in January. So, and I think the more outreach we can do to people to understand what we're trying to do and what's possible, that, you know, it would be helpful to just educate people on what we already know.
Good, thank you,
Doing a lot of work.
thank you. Any questions for Bonnie? Yes, could you please stand up and introduce yourself?
Say who I am.
Yes,
Any
Donna,
suggestions?
excuse me. Donna, not everybody on Zoom knows who you are.
Donna, you just said.
I know who you are. Please introduce yourself.
Roads as far
This
as
is,
zoning goes.
for those of you who don't know, this is Donna Hoyt. Thank you, Donna.
Okay. As far as zoning, as far as looking into changing the zoning outside of the village to make smaller lots that. You're talking about giving people things when you could allow people to actually provide for themselves if you gave them that opportunity. If we change the zoning outside of the village where you could make smaller lots, then people would be able to afford to put their own house or whatever they had to do, manufactured homes. I would think that would be the first step to look into the zoning where that can be changed.
Yeah, like I said, that's the zoning law that COPEC passed, addresses some of that, but that would have to kind of go to the zoning revisions committee. Is that?
Well, I would think this affordable housing would make that suggestion, or not something that would go to them.
Right.
What was, could you give us a synopsis of what the COPEC law was?
Well, it talks about accessory dwelling units. It talks about, actually, it has provisions to allow housing to be designated sort of for public servants, for firefighters, for veterans. A lot of that stuff is already, it's in there, that's what we've been looking for. And they've done it. So that's what I would like to take a look at and see if we can, some of the stuff we already have in our zoning. But I'd like to take a look to see if we can adopt some of that language, because it's some of the stuff we're really looking to do, and they've already done it.
Yeah,
The county always, one of the first things they say to enable affordable housing is change our zoning. So you're right, we do need to change our zoning. But that's something that we have to do.
we do have
As a town.
affordable, we have accessory uses, and we have,
We have accessory uses, both in-house and on the property. We
Yeah.
have density bonuses. We have a number of the points that I think COPEC is on the right track in formalizing. I think from my quick review of the COPEC law, there are some things in there that we definitely could look at. Features about the particular things about firefighters, EMTs, teachers, I think are in there.
Mhm.
There are half a dozen categories. Certainly could help home folks here, and I absolutely agree that that can be looked at. The point is, I do not think that we would at face value accept the text of the COPEC law, simply because I think it takes a reading and then another reading and another reading after that in order to understand what they are saying and what they are deriving their information and policy from. And from what I've seen of Ankrum folks, we kind of like to do our own thinking. And so I think the research they have done is absolutely fine as a foundation, I think it certainly warrants looking at, as Bonnie suggests. I just don't think that it is a hour and a half and you're zip boom, you're done. This is something that's going to take a little time to digest and to look at. That's my only point.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that is different in the accessory dwelling unit, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not allowed to be short-term rental. I think for a time, or something.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I'm sorry, I think the accessory dwelling units wouldn't be allowed to be short-term rentals or Airbnb. So that they, no, they would be available for rentals for regular people.
I think my point is more, I understand what you're saying about senior housing or veterans or whatever. What I'm talking about is small home ownership. We've lost that. You're talking about wanting to attract families. Well, I mean, when I got married and wanted to start a family, I wanted a home of my own.
Sure.
I wanted a piece of property where we could do something with. And that's seeming to get lost in this conversation. What you're talking about is manufactured some sort of housing for these people. Well, why not let them?
I'm not talking about that at all.
Well-
That's a possibility, but that's only one possibility.
Right, but
Most
when you
people
get
want-
involved with the county, that's basically what's gonna happen. I mean, they're gonna be looking to put housing units wherever they can. And I.
Not the county that would be doing it. I mean,
Well, if you're,
that-
what?
they're
did you say the last
developers.
Meeting you were joining with the county?
no, I mean, we're working along with the county. The point is to find property, find land and have the zoning so that people can have what you described. They can have it for affordable. That's the plan. That's
Yeah,
I
the goal.
understand, but I think that starts with the zoning. I think that starts. with
Yeah,
making
you're right.
Lot sizes available just for smaller lot size.
I
You're right.
think your idea of looking at the agricultural zone, which is now 3.5 acre average, and finding a way to identify half acre or 3/4 acre or 1 acre parcels for affordable housing, that's probably a very important piece of this.
Well, I would think,
Yeah.
and I would think that that's gonna be the first hurdle, because you
Yeah.
have to find that area that's gonna allow for this.
Yep.
With the zoning restrictions that we have, that's not gonna be easy to do, so I would think that would be the first hurdle.
Good idea. Good. Yes,
Jim Stickle, has anybody come up with like a statistical number on how many affordable homes we need in the whole Anchorville, area? A number, 40 houses, 20 houses, 30 houses, 100 houses? Yeah, I know, we're so bad for help for tradespeople in town. And they're making the $70,000, $80,000 a year. Can't touch it, $300,000 in a home. Next home, over 300,000. It would be interesting, because when you look at this, the problem we're talking about doing this, development, hard housing. Everybody here agrees, yeah, let's do that, until it's near my home. It's just like a cell tower. And then it's, oh no, we can't, not gonna put that here. So for our town, when I look at this, these affordable housing, we need to mix them in with their community. Along with the bridges and the Boston Florida, the little houses, little houses. I just last, I did the numbers on roughly one, it's like 1.5 acre lot, Boston Florida. You could do the modular duplex. Side by side. On that.
Yep.
I come out and find the lot number is pretty good, we're 300 and something thousand, probably, with the 40% over, if I get to use it bigger. But mixing them in with the community as opposed to saying, we're gonna put a home park here, a subdivision here. I don't think that's what anybody really wants for a rural area, they want with our complex.
Yep.
Mix them in, but we need a number, you're in Akron, this whole stretch, how many you pick, 5, 10? Somebody should know that, somebody should be able to come up, which is not a perfect number, maybe it goes, but it's something to think about. Anchorville here, off the corners.
Yeah, the number doesn't have to be right, because if you
Well,
say the
then
number,
that's
if you say the number is 10,
Yeah.
when you get to 10, you look around and say, hey, wait a minute, we really need 20. And you just keep going in increments.
Way off, road.
Yeah.
Our back, like, you know, like town used to, do, everybody close to the road.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost near as much. Close to.
Yep.
Just thoughts, I don't know if that's been looked at and thought about, but I do know anything to go to try to do. Think of it as a cell tower, it's not going near me. If I didn't don't want it, not happy. Much more simple, put it in. It's small.
6 months later, they forget it's even there.
Yes.
Kind of
correct.
funny how that works.
Correct, like us putting meters on. Once it's there, 2 weeks later, you know, it's there.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Not going.
Anybody on Zoom?
No one has any questions.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody? Any other committee reports? Okay. Supervisors report. October numbers were pretty much as we expected. The cash year end is projected to be about what it was last month. No changes really to the capital plan. ARPA, no changes there. T-bills, we just had a T-bill mature on the 14th for, I guess it was $450,000. We have about $230,000 of bills this month because we're paying for the sand and salt shed, and we're paying for New York State retirement. So we still have about $300,000 that we can invest, which we're going to do tomorrow in a 1 month bill, basically, or a 6-week bill maturing the end of December for 5.32%. That'll net us about $2,000 of interest. We'll end the year with about $1.1 million in T-bills, and another 100,000 or so, 150,000 in cash. We'll be in good shape going into next year. Which brings us to the 2024 budget. The final budget projects a tax levy of $714,000, which is the same as 2023. The budget as presented takes a conservative stance on revenues. We're expecting revenues on the mortgage side, on the building department, to drift down based on a very strong 2023. We're expecting interest on T-bills to also drift down from the 75,000 level to the $50,000 level. So we're looking at a more cautious projection for next year for some of these revenue items. If that caution proves to be unnecessary, what that means is we will have more money going into the fund balance as an opportunity. But in order to cover these revenue projections, which are softer than this year, we are cutting back on funding the fund balance for equipment, and we're cutting back on our contingent fund by a total of about $80,000. So when all of this stuff comes together, we end up with a $714,000 tax bill, and we're using about $97,000 of our fund balance to keep taxes flat. Half of that goes to paying a $45,000 a year loan payment for a truck we bought a couple of years ago. The rest of it goes for one-time, what we hope are one-time increases in things like the state retirement fund, which is going up $12,000 this year, and a variety of other expenses that are not going to show up in the tax levy because we have fund balance to basically cover them. As you may know, the fund balance is the sum total of all taxes that we've collected or that we've levied over time that we have not spent, that we've accumulated as a savings account for the town. And the idea is to keep that reasonably robust so that if there are problems, unexpected revenue drops, unexpected cost requirements. We have the capability of dealing with that without a dramatic change upward in taxes. So that's kind of been the way we've been operating, and I would recommend we continue to do that. The one piece of good news is our health insurance costs for next year look like they're going to be flat to this year. We thought they might be going up by $10,000, but a variety of things have happened. Makes it look like we can basically stay flat, which is good news. We've built some extra money into training for our new board members and supervisor to attend training next year. And basically, that's the budget in a nutshell. Anybody have any questions about the budget? Yeah, could you stand up, please?
You said the healthcare didn't really go up.
Right.
Did the deductible change and all that on them, on the coverages or medication stuff on them?
No, the programs are pretty much the same. We have been using a very high deductible, low premium program. And we provide protection for employees above $1,500 of out-of-pocket expense. So the high deductible keeps the premium low. But we've been lucky in the last 5, 6, 7 years, our employees have not used that high deductible policy much. So we haven't had a large out-of-pocket protection to pay. Typically, in an $80,000 budget, the premiums will cost us $70,000 and we'll have $10,000 to cover these out-of-pocket expenses. In a sense, we're self-insuring. And instead of paying premium, we're paying the bills. We're also now looking at going from the very low or the very high deductible, low premium program to a no deductible program for employees who have significant health challenges. And that looks like it might make some sense for us to try next year for one family in particular. So we've been playing the self-insurance game with this health insurance, keeping the deductibles low. Or the premiums low, I'm sorry, the deductibles high. Does that make any sense?
No, well.
Stand up,
We
please.
have a higher deductible for all employees, but I have yet to see it never increase every year. And they change something. The deductible's higher, different costs on medications, this and that.
Some people left is what it is.
Yeah.
We're covering less people. That's why it stayed flat.
Well, because most of them go up, I think ours went up 11% this year. It's a regular.
Jen, could you stand up, please?
So, not gonna say my name again, just do it.
Where are you?
11% is on average if they go up. And besides going up, also the deductible goes up too. So, while you're also paying more, you're also having to put more out of pocket. So I was even curious about that when you mentioned.
Right. Well, again, the way we run our program, whether the deductible goes up or not, doesn't affect the employee because we cap the employee at $1,500 and the town covers anything above that.
Right,
But
I was just curious about how the premium would go up, because if that happened, I would like to know the grid.
Well, the premiums, we had assumed premiums were gonna go up 15%, but they only went up like 9%. And David is right, we've had a couple of employees change the kind of coverage they have. One had a child come off the policy, another switched from the CDPHP to a Medicare program, and between those two changes, we saved about $10,000. So, yeah.
Just curious, our policy. We got, okay. Orange health insurance policy, is there like $1 million cap on those for individuals on those policies, like most insurance?
That I don't know offhand.
most people don't realize that most insurance, you have $1 million gap on your health insurance.
Yeah.
They figured 20 years ago, they figured if you make it $1 million, it's not what it is. It's basically what it is. Just curious to that, if we had that and we ever hit that, then God forbid something happen. Is the town paying that additional or how's that work?
No, I have to look at that. I don't know because the policy, as I understand it, the high deductible, when you hit the deductible, the policy kicks in and the employee in the town don't have any more obligations. I don't know whether that is capped at $1 million. I'll find out.
It doesn't take much to hit $1 million, no.
Yeah. Okay, good question.
All right, can you tell me what the status is of the $67,000 grant that was awarded was that out of last year's budget or this coming year's budget?
That was not in either budget. It was in fund balance. And we have advised the Opera House that won't be paid until they have a building permit. And they're still going through that process. So we're not sure when that's going to be paid, but
So
it'll,
that's already been awarded and that, there's no question about that.
well, the board decided to do it. It hasn't been distributed. We're waiting until they get a building permit, which is going to take some time.
So we're cutting back on our equipment for our roads, which is basically the only thing we get. But we're gonna put a community room in the Opera House. Is that what I'm getting out of this? With the budget?
Yes, you could conclude that. Any other questions about the budget? Anybody on Zoom?
No.
No, okay. And town board, anybody have any other comments? No, okay. So I guess what I'd like to do is go to the resolutions. And we have, resolution 1 is the adoption of the 2024 final budget. Town tax levy of $714,204 and a lighting district tax levy of $5,500. Just so everybody knows that $5,500 is up $1,000 over last year because electricity costs are up and because the town lent the lighting district, I think it was $1,700 a couple of years ago to put in all the LEDs. And we still need to get paid back and that hasn't happened. So that went up a little bit. Now, in addition to, I'd like to modify this resolution slightly to authorize the supervisor to change the taxable assessed value of the town of Ankrum if that becomes necessary on the basis of some of this revaluation litigation that we're going through. Right now, we have like, I think it's $530 million of assessed value. That may come down by as much as $3 million. The effect on the tax rate is about a penny. It'll go from like $1.34 to $1.35. And we don't know if that's going to happen or when that's going to happen, but I may need to change the budget. So I would like to modify this resolution so that we approve the budget subject to the authority of the town supervisor to modify the total or the taxable assessed value if necessary. Any questions about that? So could I get a motion to approve that resolution, please? Thank you. There's a second.
There is.
Thank you. Let's do a roll call vote, Monica.
Yes. Yeah. Supervisor Bass.
Yes.
Councilman Boyce.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you very much. And related to health insurance, this is the resolution, pretty much the same as last year's resolution with one change. This authorizes me to enter into an agreement with CDPHP to provide the 424 and 428 bronze, and we've added the gold 424. That's a typo. It should be the 224 health insurance plan. which is the no deductible plan. So that if we need to use that, we can. We will pay 100% of the premiums. We'll contribute $750 to each HSA for eligible members, and we will reimburse employees for out-of-pocket expenses in excess of $1,500. And we will reimburse eligible employees and spouses for costs to purchase health insurance through Medicare instead of through the town at a cost not to exceed what the town would pay. And it is resolved that employees or retirees eligible for health insurance who opt out of town programs will be reimbursed $400 a month to cover health-related costs. This is basically the program that's in place now.
So what is the deductible? High deductible,
What is the deductible?
750 or 1,500? You said it's a high deductible.
No.
100%.
Yeah, 7,000 or 8,000.
Oh, that's what I thought. That's,
No,
doesn't say that.
no.
7,800.
And it was 13,000 and change for family.
And fortunately, we have had very healthy employees until recently. And, you know, it's important, I think, that we fit the programs to the employees' needs, which is what we want to do. So any questions about this health insurance program?
When you're adopting a no deductible.
Yes,
as an
maybe
option.
as an option. We're looking into whether that's going to be less expensive than doing the high deductible. I'm sorry, we're looking at whether or not the no deductible will be less expensive than the high deductible, because while the premium increases, our out-of-pocket reimbursement decreases dramatically.
Right.
And the objective is lowest cost to the town and maximum benefit to the employee. Okay. Other questions or comments? Complicated,
It is.
but it's important to the employees, so. Okay, so can I get a motion to adopt this resolution as presented with the change to the gold number 224, not 424? Motion in a second. Okay, thank you. Let's do a roll call vote, Monica.
Yes.
Supervisor Bass.
Yes.
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 Okay, resolution has been adopted. Thank you very much. Just a quick note on the election results. I was told by the county that they hope to have final results by the beginning of December. I think most of the votes have been counted, but there are some close races, including the Ankrum council races, that are going to have recounts. So that will be sort of the end of November, early December before we're totally sure what the numbers are. Town board member comments, David?
Told you, I'm sure everybody, we'd all talked to a bunch of people this month. Heard a bunch of comments from people, couple things they were interested in. There were a lot of people that talked to me this month. That they were really uptight about all the campaign signs. They would like to see Ankrum disband campaign signs. They're tired of all that all on the lawns. And that was
That's-
probably the biggest thing I heard this month.
Okay,
I thought it was something we could do away with.
thank you, David. Mr. Clark. Okay, thank you. Amy.
Yeah, a couple of things. Last month I reported on the status of the Hope Care Center, the Rapid Care Center. And there's more of an update this month. The CMH is still committed to opening the center in 2024. They're still targeting January. Whether or not that happens is dependent on how much money they can raise in the meantime. The fundraising initiative has become a very critical component of the opening date. So what Columbia Memorial Health has done is they have created on their website, and I will be giving this to Art to send out in an Ankrum email, a donation location where people can go onto the site, select any amount of money whatsoever. It doesn't, there's no minimum donation. But we are looking to fundraise, and this is going on not just in Ankrum, but in the 5 towns that have been active in getting the center to open again. So it's Taconic, and it's Hillsdale, it's Copake, it's Ankrum, and it's Gallatin. So we will be doing a fundraising effort throughout. Yes, Jen?
Just what's their goal? What is their hard goal that they're trying to reach?
Hyla, do you know that? No, I don't have.
What they really are looking for a target to get, and would the town be interested in putting in a little bit of money to have an urgent care might be an ideal thing, even if we started out with a very small amount from all the towns. I mean, that would benefit all of us.
Yeah, that's something that's being explored. Because
We're gonna get reduced cost per coverage then, right?
that's something that is being explored.
Okay.
Because each town has their own way of dispensing funds.
Right.
So, yeah, so we don't want one town to be paying more than another town for the same set of services. Yes, I'm sorry.
So instead of wasting money on the opera house for 67,000, why don't you send the Medicare more useful to people?
That's not my decision to make.
It is the board, I'm not everybody.
We can do both.
I mean, it's more useful for what people need. Medical centers
Yeah,
than opera
very
house.
possible that we can do both. And we're also looking for individual funding. So, and there are lots of people who have committed to donating or gifting to this cause. It's called the Copake Rapid Care Fund.
Yeah.
But
But you're using some of the town's money, 67,000. Why not just take that from the opera house? It's not really beneficial to where the healthcare is. It'll actually help get more nurses and doctors in.
I see your point. I do see your point.
One other question.
Yeah.
Is it because we can't keep, I think the urgent care is fantastic. So is it because we can't keep the doctors, we can't keep them paying, shortage of the health? So what is the main thing? I know you had mentioned it was hard getting staffing.
It's hard getting staffing,
And
yeah.
now we're talking about money, so that's why I was.
Well, I think it's multifaceted.
Okay.
So yes, and CMH is in the process of recruiting a physician's assistant to man the facility. And they have a line on some individuals that are qualified. We just don't have anything concrete as yet. Okay, so look forward to, I'll give Art the paperwork and we can send it out in an Ankrum email and you can take a look at it, and anything you can provide would be appreciated.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, there was just one other thing that I'd just like to get on the record. I've been working on this Ankrum intersection at the intersection of 82 and 7 for quite some time. And we've been reaching out to the Columbia County Highway Department. And I've not gotten any response from them. And Art, I sent out another email this month to Ray to set up a meeting. And it's not even that he's not able to set up the meeting, he's not even responding. So I'm just gonna ask Jim, David, if you have any influence over the Columbia County Highway Department, please use it. I mean, there are a couple of simple fixes that we think we can implement, and we would just like to get their attention.
Up above the area. In now.
Could you tell us what those simple fixes are?
One of them relates to the triangle slip. Where there's it's a two-way passage right now, coming down 82 and also off of 7. We're hoping to be able to put a no left turn sign on the Route 7 area so that we mitigate the risk of a head-on in that slip. So that's one simple fix that the state doesn't want to deal with, but that's something that the county can do. They can put that sign there.
That could be more than.
Thank you, Jen.
Sorry, I have a lot of questions today. Is that gonna be more than one time? Because they usually have do not enters on there.
Yeah, that's something, excuse me. That's something that we want to discuss with them, because our idea is a no left turn. They may say, well, we have to put this sign on this side.
There's usually more than one.
Yeah. And also at the flashing light, the red flashing light, there's no stop line to indicate where cars need to stop before they pull into oncoming traffic. So, there are just a few simple things that we can do to provide more safety.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for Amy? Hey, Bonnie?
I have nothing more.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Well, we had a thing about, I think it was Halloween or the week before. The guys were doing some stuff along the road. They came down, we discovered a hole in the side of the road on Under Mountain Road. And upon further investigation, found a failing culvert pipe rather under the. And long story short, we changed it on November 1st and procured the pipe for around $5,900. Down at Copac, came down their excavator and we got to change it one day.
What size pipe was that?
For a 5-footer. Right? It was things was all cobbled together. I don't know who did it way back when. It was probably done 75 years ago. Cast iron in the middle. 4 foot.
What size pipe was in there originally?
The cast iron was 4 foot and a piece of 5 foot showed over each end of it. And it just, with the heavy rains this summer, got undermined itself.
And it didn't cost you 150 grand to do it?
No,
How'd you do it?
we just,
Can't believe it.
we just did it.
No, I know, never mind. Sorry, I'm being silly.
We just did it. That was that, and we had a situation up on Catalano Road where the heavy rains were washing a bank away, and we brought in some riprap stone. We had to have Fire Fred Schneeberger to put a set down over the bank with the excavator for us. And we've been going over the plow trucks. The salt shed is now complete. We put the floor in it last week. Final cost on the floor was around $10,700. I had to rent a little roller to fit in the tight places of the blacktop, the little blacktop. That's where we're pretty much ready to go now.
Good.
And I've applied for our last round of chips. And it's gonna be $133,747.24. Should come in the middle of December.
Good.
That's about all I got.
Okay, any questions for Jim? Anybody?
The asphalt, won't the salt eat right through that?
Excuse me?
Won't the salt eat right through the asphalt?
No, actually asphalt is better than concrete. It doesn't, the oil is much more resistant to the salt than it is. The floor of the garage is evidence to that. Well, popped already after 10 years.
Cement.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Monica?
Just real quick, the last month in October. I sold 3 dog licenses. And I issued several death certificates, unfortunately. And we charge $10 a copy for them when the families need them. So I did 19 copies. Myself and Avery took part in the Pine Plains PTA Trunk or Treat. There's probably about 300 kids down there. It's fabulous. And we went down and represented the town and had a great time. The kids were really, really happy to have a lot of people there. It was safe, well lit. And the last thing I have is an invitation for anyone who wishes to come to the Pine Plains Cemetery, December 16th. It's a Saturday at 12 noon. They will be putting out the wreaths for all the veterans. I believe we placed about 800 wreaths. And there's a lot of people who hang from buried in Pine Plains. So it's the 16th at 12 noon. And if anybody, plug for me, if anybody is still looking to order a Christmas wreath, our Boy Scout troop has 58 still to get rid of. So if you want a Christmas wreath, I have them, $20.
Where do you get them?
We actually put them together ourselves. 450 of them.
So where would I get one if I wanted?
So you order them, they come, we decorate them next week. I bring them home and I distribute them after Thanksgiving.
You order them for Monica.
You order them from me. I don't know how I'm getting them home, because so far Ronald and I have sold 100. But we decorate them, we get them from. Get them from Ward, not Wards, what's the hardware store down there in Rhinebeck? Williams orders them for us at a discounted price, and then we decorate them.
Yep.
It's a lot. We always have fun.
Good.
I know.
Thank you, Monica. Any questions for Monica?
I have a question.
Mhm.
How often must the dog license be
Every year.
renewed? Every year.
And I send out renewals. And about 50% of them come back being renewed. A lot of people think that once they have a dog license, they don't have to renew it. We had talked in the past about doing a dog census. I probably have 40 dogs in the town of Bangor license, and that's it.
Oh,
And we've done things in the past where we sent out emails reminding people they have to register their dogs, but it's mainly so that, one, if a dog gets lost, we know who to return it to, and we don't have to use the email. And the second thing is, it's for us to make sure that the dogs in our town have rabies.
Rabies shots.
Rabies shots.
But my
Sorry.
neighbor sent me something out in a nice email. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Well, I had thought too, and it came up at one of my town clerk meetings that I go to every other month, that one of the town clerks, and it might have been Stephenson, I'm not positive. They did something where they sent out a bulk mailing of postcards, because it was cheaper. To, at least the tax roll. Just reminding people that they have to license it. And you need to license it if you have 2 homes, you're supposed to license in both places. And it's $6 for a spayed dog, 16 for non. It's not huge amounts of bucks here.
I never got a license for our dog because I was hoping he'd come get it. But never
Get the
got it.
dog or.
Yes.
well, we can put out an email, see what happens. Get swamped.
I have the forms all on my town website. Print them out, send it in with a copy of your rabies certificate and.
Good, good.
When
Okay.
those go out?
Tax bills go out January 1. We'll probably have them in my possession. I usually get them around Christmas. And then my son and daughter and I spend about a week stamping them, pulling the mortgages and the escrows. And I have to by law have them in the mail before January 1. We'll try to have them to the post office by like the 29th or the 30th. I cannot send them out until the Board of Supervisors sign the tax rolls at the county level, which is at their last meeting
Yep.
of the year. But that'll be here before you know it.
Okay. Any other questions for Monica? Okay, thank you very much, Monica. We're down now to approving the budget adjustments and the warrant and paying the bills. On budget adjustments, we've got $26,000 this month. Attorney's fees are $5,000. Retirement is $3,000. Sand and salt shed, extras $5,000. We have EEP from the summer of $800. We have supplemental building, town hall building costs for $4,000. Town pool $1,000, the building manager $1,500. And CEO additional compensation $3,000. Central data $3,000, total $26,300.
Make the motion.
Building manager,
That's the building manager we hired,
yeah.
Yeah.
How much
$1,500.
is that one time?
No, that's just, well,
Where did it go?
that's for his compensation.
Is
We,
that on the payroll?
no, he is on the payroll. We've been paying him. And there was extra money in that account, but not enough to pay his salary. So we're adding more money to cover it,
That's 5,000.
4,000, I think.
4,000 a year.
Yeah. It's 156 a week or every 2 weeks or something. And this just puts enough money in there for him to get paid and previously approved. Yep. Okay, could I get a motion to approve the budget adjustments, please?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? And a motion to approve the warrants and pay the bills, please. All in favor? Pass. Thank you very much. Public comments? Anybody have anything else at this moment?
Don't take thanks,
Donna?
but I'm not.
Is that clarified?
I know we've talked about this before, about the lighting district.
Oh, I'm sorry,
The lighting district,
yes,
now from each person in the lighting district has to pay that tax.
correct.
But the town picks up that tax for Anchorage. There's never been any move to actually do the exact same thing in Anchorage that you do in Anchorage. Now, with the rising cost of electricity, I mean, you're expecting the people in Anchorage to pay that cost, but not Anchorage. Why isn't that?
I don't know.
It was never looked into. We discussed it and it was never looked into. Why isn't there a lighting district in the center of Anchorage? Because there are lights, there are.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer to that. I'm not sure. Tom, do you have any idea?
No,
I remember we discussed it and then it was dropped and nothing was ever done about it. I mean, the town picks up that cost.
Yeah.
So everyone's paying that, but yet in Ingram, the people in the lighting district are paying.
Okay. It's gonna be a lot simpler to eliminate the Ankrum lighting district than it will be to set up. Sorry?
It'll be easier to get rid of it than
Yes.
create the next one.
Yes, exactly.
My point exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Good point.
What would you look, how would you look into that? I mean, could you?
Well, I'll call the attorney for the Association of Towns and find out what you do.
Okay.
It's easy as that. And then the next town supervisor can take care of it.
That's why you agree to that.
Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts? Okay, I think we want to go into executive session now to discuss litigation matters. So can I get a motion to go into executive session? Please?
You have to
So moved.
do- Something about
That's what we talked about now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session.
I made.
I will move to go into executive session to discuss litigation.
Okay. Okay, I would like a motion to come out of executive session, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're out of executive session and we are now looking at a resolution that is a proposed settlement between the town of Ankrum and Chernoff, which is the Long Lake Group, and Weiner, which is an individual Long Lake owner, regarding a proceeding pursuant to Article 78 and Article 7, challenging the 2023 revaluation.
Why does it say 47 petitioners? In the whereas, it says.
Yes,
40.
it's 47 individuals.
Okay,
It's husband and wife in a bunch of cases.
okay, that's, oh, that's,
Yep.
it's
So-
still only 36 parcels.
36 parcels, correct. So we have a proposal here to, we were asked to reduce the land values, eliminate the land values for these Long Lake parcels. And reduce the assessed values by $100,000 in all cases but two. In two cases, reduce the assessed value by $58,000. We have been negotiating with Long Lake, Chernoff, and Wiener. And the proposal that is on the table is to reduce total assessed value by $90,000 in 30, I guess it would be 34 cases, and by $58,000 in two cases. Plus another reduction of 90,000 for Mr. Wiener. The total of all of these reductions is approximately $3 million. And at the tax rate per thousand of $1.34, this will increase the tax rate for the town of Ankrum by 1 penny to 1.35. This settlement proposal requires the approval of the school board, and that approval was granted last night, and requires the approval of the Ankrum Town Board. And once we have approved this, it has already been approved by the Long Lake plaintiffs. Once we approve this, it will be filed by our attorney with the court, and we will hopefully get this matter resolved in time to update the tax rolls for 2023, and in time for me to adjust the budget taxable assessed value Monday. I've already talked to the folks up there, and
Okay, so they understand.
they know we have a little issue here. So that's basically the outline of this resolution. And the conclusion is, it is in the best interest of the town to accept this proposed settlement because it will preserve the validity of the revaluation. Whereas if we were to contest this further and lose the Article 78 proceeding, the entire 2023 revaluation would be basically thrown out, and we would basically be back to where we were last year. The arguments for settling, in addition to eliminating the risk of the Article 78 action, are that the valuations that are part of the revaluation are based on data that may indicate that some of these parcels, in fact, were assessed more aggressively than they might have been. And I sense that we do not feel, as an organization, our attorney does not feel that we have a compellingly strong argument at this point to deal with this situation. And he has gotten some indication from the court that the court is skeptical of our position.
So if we lost them, if the reval was thrown out, roughly, you know, how much money we spent on that? And how much time and money?
It was a lot,
A lot,
you know. So I think
many thousands.
what we have now is an opportunity to settle this matter. It's likely that we will see other requests for adjustments next year. And we will deal with those individually. And move on from there. So are there any questions or comments from members of the board about this proposed settlement resolution?
No, I think it's a good compromise.
Okay,
And best for the town moving forward.
you, any thoughts?
I move that the board authorize the direct settlement of this litigation to our vote this evening.
Okay, thank you very much.
Second.
David, thank you. Any other comments before we do a roll call vote? Anybody have any thoughts? Okay, Monica, roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Hunt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gold.
Yeah.
Supervisor Johnson.
Yes,
Councilman Boyce.
Yeah.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
resolution has been adopted. Thank you very much. I will communicate this to our attorney. And we will proceed from there. Renee, thank you very much for your work. And does anybody have anything else? Is there anybody on Zoom?
There is, but they're not saying anything.
Okay, Carol.
You said something about. I'll change.
Thank you.
You had said something about a penny to $1.35. I didn't quite catch what that was.
The mill rate, the amount we're charged per thousand of value is computed by dividing the total assessed value into the taxes. So at $1.34 times the value of your property, that is your tax. For the total town, the average of all the property values and
Okay, so it's not going to add $1.30.
no, $1.34,
$1.
it adds one penny.
$1,000.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
it's now $1.34, it'll go to $1.35.
Ah, okay. I get
Good
it.
question. Sorry, I was not clear on that. Okay, Jim, any questions or comments? Okay. All right, so we're all done here. Any other comments before we adjourn?
This one, I move we adjourn.
I'll second that one.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you all very much.